Okay. Hi, my name is Dan Halsey with United Designers and Southwoods Ecosystems and Ecological Design, here with our global check-in. And I'm looking forward to all the great people we're going to be talking to with our global check-in. And this is for the Global Earth Repair Conference that's in Port Townsend, Washington, first weekend in May. Looking forward to that too. So some of these are recorded, other ones are live. But we have a great group of people from all over the country and the world and continents to talk to about climate change, about climate adaptation, and all the different things that they're dealing with on their properties and in their country. So with me today are Regina Cobo-Qintas from Spain and Sara Garcia. They're my co-hosts for these recordings. And our first guest is Fernando, and I'll let Regina introduce him.
Well, Fernando, this is Fernando Vin egla, and he is from Spain, as you already said. He works for the International Ecosystem Restoration Foundation, which is a private non-profit entity here in Spain built with the purpose to restore and conserve the ecosystems, bringing all the academic knowledge to the real projects in the land. And well, I'm leaving Fernando to introduce himself. Hola Fernando, ¿qué hay?
Hola Sara.
Hola Fernando.
Hola.
La verdad es que lo has introducido tú mejor que yo. You have introduced me better than me. That's great. Hola, hi everybody. I am Fernando Vin egla, as Sara said. I lived in Madrid, in Spain. And I work for an International Foundation for Ecosystem Restoration as the manager and technician for environmental projects.
Thank you. So we're going to get right into this because we want to use our time well. And we have a series of questions in our first part, and then Fernando is going to do a little presentation about the work that he's doing. So our first question today for Fernando is, what is the climate change trend in your region?
Okay, thank you. Well, Spain, and more specifically the central part of Spain, where we are, is considered mainly as dry lands or semi-arid lands. We have low rainfall and, in general, high temperatures. So, as in other semi-arid regions, climate change has to further exacerbate this aridity condition. The rainfall will descend, changing their frequency and intensity. That is very few rainfalls, but very intense. So the water cannot get stored into the soil, only flows away. And the temperature will increase, advancing very seriously the desertification boundary here in Spain.
How big an increase have you seen, or do you think you will see?
The increase of the aridity.
Yes. Has it been severe, and you expect it to continue to get more?
No, we are expecting a severe increase because we are in high temperatures, and always in these temperatures, 1, 2, or 3 degrees can be very significant in the territory, in the landscape. So it's an important impact.
So what is the most important climate change adaptation in your region?
Okay, as adaptations, I would say 2 mainly. The first, more efficient use of water, valuing it as a common good instead of a particular asset. It is important to eliminate, for example, some subsidies or grants to irrigator-intense agricultural systems and support the efficiency and the innovation in other systems like dry farming, because we are going to this scenario. And second, try to soften as much as possible this increase in temperatures that will occur, but on a local scale. It is important to generate a sustainable landscape with paths of use and extraction of resources, with other elements that provide ecosystem services that soften temperatures, such as little forests, hedges, green spaces in town or cities, recovery of rivers, and other kind of elements.
Mm-hmm. Is there, I just wanted to ask just a second part on that question. You mentioned subsidies. Is there a lot of policy problems that encourage people to do poor practices? Is it the government policy that's a problem also?
Yeah, there are some communities that are supporting economically the change of the use from dry farming to irrigated farming in areas where you have to dig into the soil very deep to reach the aquifer. So it's not logical for this ecosystem. You have to adapt to your conditions.
So what action has been taken to avoid a climate tragedy in your area? Are people aware of the possibility and taking action?
Well, this question is complex to answer. Climate change has a global scale, so the local actions that you can make, I think, must be aligned with global actions to really make an impact. So I particularly think that the key is in the consumption. Each person as a consumer has the ability to support some initiative and to not choose other these small actions elevated to a global scale. Yeah, I think that it can be the appropriate action. So continuing with this, it's true that here in Spain, in our region, an effort has been made in communication and in education regarding climate change. And we can feel and we can look that when people, when they are going to buy, for example, are increasingly stopping to see the production model of the product, for example, or they are more worried about the proximity of the products and they are looking after that. So it's an important step, but however, the immediacy of the climate change, I think, increase the chances of that these actions will not be effective. If this awareness has been done 25 or 30 years ago, it's very likely that we were facing right now another scenario. But I don't know, now it's the more appropriate action.
I see. So very much, I mean, you're talking about awareness and education, obviously, to people to understand the reality of the situation. But the reality was known, like you're saying, decades ago, and nobody did anything at that time.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. The scientific research was there, the impacts was there, but we don't have the I don't know what can be the correct word, but the assumption of this problem in real way, because we didn't feel it as closer.
Right. Well, thank you for your information and opinions on these topics. And so for a second part too, we just wanted to see your presentation, and you can share your screen with us for that.
Okay.
And if there's anything that needs to be translated, Regina or Sara can help with that also.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I think that I have changed all the words or the words, but well, I want to talk about our main project. It's the flag project of our organization. It's called First for Life, and we want to bring back the biodiversity to the agriculture. But first, a little introduction about us. Like Sara has said, we are an NGO that was born in a master's degree in ecosystem restoration. So we was born because they detect and needed to apply or to transfer into the real world all the advances that were being made in research in this area, in this ecosystem restoration science. So the International Foundation for Restoration, Ecosystem Restoration was created to implement technical projects for environmental recovery. And we are specialized in agroecosystems. Why agroecosystems? Because these systems are in the 40% more or less the 40% of the landscape surface. And if we move to our territory, this number grows up to the 50%. So it's a huge area to make an impact and to improve the biodiversity. We want to change this landscape. This is the common landscape here in Spain right now, with very few paths of vegetation, and we want to transform it into this landscape. We want a landscape where the crops and the biodiversity and the environment are working together and enhance each other. So they are working together to a sustainable model. And how we can achieve this change of landscape? Well, this is our project, Fields for Life. We work with crops, particular crop, and in each crop we can do different things. We can build artificial ponds for amphibians, or we can put some bird nests or boxes for birds, or even we can build rock piles for reptiles and other animals. But our main action is the plantation of hedges or green fences among the crops. So altogether makes up the construction of this field for life, where biodiversity and agricultural productions work together. The third feet or leg of this project is the owners. We want to work with the owners in a similar model. So we work in land stewardship model, where the owner and us work together to achieve the sustainability of the crop. Not only it's our work or their work, so we need to work together and helping each other. And one important thing that we want to share is that from the interaction with these farmers, we have developed a label called Campos de Vida, or Fields for Life, Campos de Vida in Spanish. And with this label, we offer to the farmers and put into their products. And we endorse that this food is being produced in a field which is actively committed to the conservation of the biodiversity, and we can prove it with our projects. So in this field, you can conserve and restore the biodiversity. Why is this model? Because we found that we work very hard with the production way of the chain, but we have forgotten the other part of the chain, the consumers. It's important to share, to talk about this project and these initiatives with the consumers in order to, as I said before, to be part of the model, and they can choose their products, their food to eat in the initiative they want to endorse. This is an example of our products, and that's the end of the presentation. I want to do it shortly to try to not get bored to the people, and thank you. Thank you for your attention and for the opportunity.
So, well, thank you too. That's wonderful to see what you're doing there, and I like to see that also that the dog was part of the
yeah.
The pets were also part of that. I thought that was interesting.
Of the chain, yeah.
Yeah, the chain of things going through. Let's see here. I'm going to let's see. You can stop. You can. Here we go. I could hear.
Okay.
Stop your screen sharing. Well, thank you for all that information. We appreciate your time with doing that. And we will have a number more people coming up, but this is really a great first interview to have with you, to find out what you're doing and learn from you. And hopefully we can be in touch and do another one of these soon and find out more of what's going on in your area.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm very grateful to participate in this, and thank you to you, Daniel, and especially to Regina and Sara that called us to have the opportunity to talk about our project. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sí.
We'll be in
Gracias,
touch.
Fernando.
Adios.
Bye. Adiós,
Goodbye.
Fernando.
Bye, Fernando.
Bye.